Hi students, today I am going to explain the concept of SET. So is a secure electronic transaction. It is a part of the network security. So and also it is part of the e-commerce security, electronic commerce security. So whatever the transaction is taken place in the network communication, that is a electronic transaction, which should be provided some of the security. So SET is the concept to provide the security when the data in the e-commerce delivered. Now we have to be observed some of the security services that already we considered these security services in the earlier concept of the cryptography. Now the security services are considered the integrity, that is confidentiality, authentication, non-repudiation, access control and availability. And one more data security is taken place by the cryptography and auditability. So these are the some of the security concept, because when we provide this concept automatically to protect the data and also similarly to protect the network. So here the two considerations are there. The first one, we keep or secure the data, and second one, we also provide the security to the network. So why? Because so when we take the data security, so automatically using some of the concept like confidentiality, authentication, integrity, non-repudiation, access control and availability. So these all are comes under the cryptographic concept, which protect the data security only. But what is the point of the network security? So in the network security, so the auditability is a related concept of the network security, and also we can protect the network security through the internet protocol, IP security, the web security and email security. There are so many network security concepts are there. So here based on this particular socket, the socket is nothing but we know that so how we can protect the security to the socket. The socket is the combination of the IP address and the port number. So when we combine these two, then only the connection should be established between the two parties. So when we take the e-commerce technology, that is an electronic commerce. So SET is related to the security concept of the electronic commerce. Nowadays so many items, so many goods are purchased through the online, and we can take the e-transaction particularly, and also we can take the money transaction, that is a e-money transaction. So whatever the transaction which is considered in the electronically, the SET is the most important concept. So whatever in the previous delivered of the data security, so we need to establish some confidentiality service. So this confidentiality service can provide the, so it should not be intercepted during the transaction. That means whenever we take the confidentiality, so that service is directly taken the path to reach the information or transaction securely to the destination party. So that means here there is no interference or intercepted the information which cannot be disturbed. And integrity is know that we know that service which can be taken the modification point of view, only the authentication party can modify the data. And availability is the service, if any authentication party is not considerable, so within the time factors or anything which can be taken, the some availability service is taken place in the communication. Suppose if the any transactions may be disturbed in between the communication, again the transaction can be rectified in some other time. So that is an availability service is there. So if the transaction is failed, so that is not indicates the which is not affected to the customer point of view, because that service may be rectified within some duration. So that is a part of the availability. Now here also the cryptography is also one of the part of the secure electronic transaction, because of information should be encrypted and decrypted only by an authorized user. So no party can involved in between the transaction and to encrypt the data securely and to transmit the data securely. Now coming to this part, So some of the secure electronic transaction, because it is a secure protocol by the one of the some of the credit card, Mastercard, Visa. So we have to use some of the transaction codes. So which is the secured protocol collaborated by this particular concept. So this is also identified some of the factors to take the communication in between the two principles. Now we go for the secured electronic transaction taken place in the different consideration. The first one is the card holders digital wallet software is there. So the set can be defined card holders digital wallet software in the sense the details of the card holder. The digital wallet allows the card holder to make secure purchases online via point and click interface. So that means here whatever the details can be entered by the user, whatever the sending the details by the user, so which takes the confidential manner by the this particular feature, that is an cardholder digital welfare software. This is the first component of the set. And second component is the merchant software. So the merchant software helps merchants to communicate with the potential customers and financial institution in a secure manner. So that means whatever the customer details or the communication party details or the financial institutions data, so which can be keep this particular software, because the software cannot share that information to anybody else. So this is the second component of this particular secure electronic transaction. And the third one is the payment gateway software. So this is server software. So this is very important concept, because the payment gateway we know that a gateway is a protocol converter, so which takes one standard of protocol and converts the another standard of protocol, whatever it can be understood by the other party. Now here the payment gateway, in the sense, suppose we have to purchase one item in which is located in US actually. So we have to pay the money to the through the dollars only, but our transaction is the rupee currency. So when we take the rupee currency transaction, automatically the gateway is converted that amount into the dollars. So that means here the important factor in the set is the payment gateway server software. This payment gateway provides a automatic and standard payment process. So this is the automatic and standard payment process. Whatever the conversion is required, whatever the amount is transmitted to the destination safely. So everything is handled by this particular component, that is a payment gateway server software. And the next one is the certificate authority software. So actually this is the once the transaction is completed, so we get the certificate. So successfully transaction, we receive message, success, the transaction is taken place successfully, like that. So here the certificate authority software is used by financial institution to issue digital certificate to card holders and merchants, and to enable them to register their account agreements for secured electronic commerce. Now the mediation party, the certificate authority is there, is the middle party or the mediation party in between the merchant and the card holder. So these two parties are depends on this particular certificate authority. So the certificate authority issues some of the certificates to the merchant and the card holder. Once they can receive, then they start the transaction. So these are the four important components in the set. The first one is the cardholder's digital welfare software. So this can be allows the cardholder to make secure purchases online via point and click interfaces. And second one is the merchant software. The software can protect the all the customer details, whatever the potential of that particular service taken, the customer's point of view and the financial institution, they can keep up all the information with that software. So which cannot be transmitted, which cannot share that information to any. So payment gateway is one of the gateway which can protect automatic and standard payment process. So and the last one is the certificate authority software. So this is the mediation between the merchant and this particular customer. So when they take the digital transaction or anything, So they must have one of the digital certificate. Now you can observe through the diagrammatical representation. Now, so this is the payment gateway is the central point, because so once we can receive that particular payment received, so this is the a communication criteria in this particular set secured electronic transaction. Now customer is there, merchant is there, customer financial institution is there. Financial institution is nothing but the bank. A customer have any account in that particular bank that related to the customer financial institution, provide some of the loan facility, some of the credit facility, some of the credit card facility, like that. So the customer have any so many options which are taken in the customer financial institution, and here the merchant financial institution. So sometimes the customer financial institution and the merchant financial institution may be the different. So maybe it is not compulsory to take the same banking. Suppose the customer have the State Bank of India account and the merchant have the ICICI Bank account, even though the transaction to take place with the payment gateway. That's why I said the gateway is nothing but the conversion, the transaction. So they can collect the money from the State Bank of India from the customer point of view, and transfer that amount to the ICICI which is related to the merchant financial institution. So all the interrelated factors, either the customer, merchant, or the customer financial bank or the merchant financial institution, these all are associated, vice versa. Even the communication between the merchant gateway to the customer is vice versa communication. The communication between the merchant and payment gateway is the vice versa communication, and customer bank to the payment gateway is the vice versa communication, and similarly the merchant financial institution and the payment gateway is the vice versa communication. So always this particular payment gateway takes the key role in the secured electronic transaction. Now you can observe this particular diagram. You can take this place. The electronic commerce is taken through the transaction through the internet process. That's why here the card holder. So whoever may be the card holder is taking the transaction to the through the internet and communicated to the merchant. Now you have to be observed in this particular internet, one of the certificate authority is there already. So that is a certificate authority software is there. So that certificate authority is received by this particular card holder once. Based on that only he can take the transaction. Now this can be taken in the relation of the issuer. Issuer is the bank issuer, and the payment network is there. Whatever the payment mode of the network is taken place, and acquirer is there. Acquirer to take the communication factor. So in between the certificate authority. So now you have to be observed the internet process takes the request from the card holder and forward that request to the merchant, and the merchant can verify this particular payment gateway through the internet. So because this is a connection, so the customer may request to the bank, the issuer may release the payment. So the issuer also having the certificate authority. So if anyone cannot have the certificate authority, the transaction may not be considered. So that here it should be taken in the secured manner. That's why in every communication the transaction once it will be the confirmed, then only it can take place of the a particular order by the customer. Now you can observe in this particular payment gateway and the certificate authority, both are the attached to the internet process, because of the conversion or the transaction should be taken with the help of this particular internet service, internet provision for taking the communication between the merchant and the card holder. So the card holder may not be communicated to the issuer. Here you can observe issuer is the one of the person, one of the bank which can be provided the services to the card holder. But the merchant may not be communicated to the issuer. Merchant may be communicated to the payment gateway. Even payment gateway is communicated to the acquirer which is taken the amount and transmitting that amount through the payment gateway to the merchant. Once the cardholder takes that particular communication, so that communication is confirmed by this particular issuer. Once the issuer is passes the information and getting one certificate authority, so that certificate authority can verify the internet service and provider. Once it can be verified, then the transaction is moved to the merchant, and finally the merchant takes that order and delivered that order. So with the confirmation of the communication through the phone or verifying some of the OTP, some of the security code like that, and every transaction should be taken place. So this is the major component. Now how it can be processed? Now here you can verify who is the top one and who is the priority to get the and final one. So the first one is the cardholder and the merchant, and third party is the issuer here. Fourth one is the acquirer and payment gateway, and last one is the certificate authority. Now you can observe. So all these includes in the priority. The first one is the cardholder, second one is the merchant, and third one is the issuer, and fourth one is the acquirer, and fifth one is the payment gateway, and the last one is the certificate. Once the certificate authority is issued, so to the internet process provider verifies that, and finally the request is transmitted from cardholder to the merchant. So this is what exactly the concept of the secure electronic transaction. This is the network security, how the payment can be transmitted, that is an e-payment can be transmitted securely by using this particular concept. Thank you.